Sejong, we love you. We appreciate you. You're a baddie. You're the baddest of them all. And these men ain't. Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Bree with an E, and for today's video, I'm gonna be giving my final thoughts on Singles Inferno Season 2. It recently just ended. I actually just got done watching it. If you could see the shock on my face. If you could see the shock on my face, Jungwoo, King Jungwoo was chosen, but we will get into all of that. There are a lot of things that have changed since my last video. If you haven't seen my last video on Singles Inferno, I'll put it right here. Imagine if it's not here and I have to put it, okay. I'll put it somewhere on the screen. But if you haven't seen my last video on Singles Inferno, I gave my thoughts on how the season was going so far, and since then, a lot of my thoughts have changed, not gonna lie. Some stayed the same, like Sejong and Justice. So I just wanted to give my final thoughts on the season, seeing that we had 4 episodes since my last video, and a lot really did change. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So to quickly recap what happened in the past 4 episodes, Sejun and Minsu came, our new additions to the island. They quickly shook things up as soon as they arrived, basically had the opportunity to take anyone they want to paradise. Of course, we know Minsu chose Jin Young and actually chose him twice in a row, which I'll talk about that in a sec. Also, Sejun chose Lee So-yi, which I was so happy for her. I felt like So-yi kind of got a lot of hate from the whole Yoonjae situation, saying that she was the person to blame, she was making Yoonjae feel uncomfortable and this and that. I agree to a certain extent that was kind of up to So-yi to kind of get those hints that Yoonjae wasn't really interested in her and should quickly move on instead of kind of pressuring him a little bit. But you also have to realize that they aren't watching the same thing we're watching. They lived this out in real time. And while the other girls may have been quick to pick up on Yoonjae only having interest for So-eun, I think still we aren't in So-yi's position. It's kind of hard to judge in that situation from her standpoint of view to know if Yoonjae really was interested in her or not, because he did keep referring to how he wanted to get to know everyone and that he was curious about her. It could have been confusing for her. Also, after learning her age, when she went to Paradise with Sejun, she's 23. She's very young, and with minimal dating experience at that age, of course you're gonna be a little bit more naive and may not have as much knowledge going into the dating scene. So I don't want y'all to give her such a hard time. You know, chill out on my girl. Yes, I was so happy for her that she finally got to go to Paradise with Sejun, who is literally the most adorable man and super funny and just charming and very perfect for her. And I'm so glad that they were the final match at the end. I think she really needed that. And yeah, I was happy to see her in these past 4 episodes move on from Yoonjae. This isn't me putting Yoonjae down or anything. I actually do really like Yoonjae, and I think him with So-eun are literally perfect. I think they, of all the matches made at the end of the season, are the one with the most potential to actually have a relationship after this and actually maybe even get married. I think that they're 2 very mature people. They are of an age, 32, and I don't remember what So-eun's age was, but with Yoonjae being 32 and So-eun being an older woman, I just feel like they have this sense of maturity in the relationship and are gonna take it more seriously as a result. Now to Minsu and Jin Young's date in Paradise, I feel like it was very different from Jin Young's and Seokgi's date. I think Seokgi and Jin Young's date was just kind of irreplaceable and you couldn't really replicate that. And so watching him in Paradise with Minsu was very telling. I felt like for most of the time since Jin Young had came to Paradise after his first date with Suki, I think he was kind of weighing his options and wasn't really set on Suki like she was on him. I think Suki from the very start really liked Jin Young, and Jin Young really liked Suki. I just think he also wanted to explore a little bit. I think once he finally went on that date with Minsu, a different girl from Suki, I think it kind of opened his eyes a little bit. Suki definitely left the strongest impact on him, and when Minsu chose him again for their second date, that is when he obviously revealed to her that, you know, I don't really see this going any further, and kind of let her down very softly and very gently. I was kind of a little bit upset for Nadine because I really did want her to have that chance and that opportunity right then and there to go on a date with Jin Young instead of having it be the very few last episodes, and as a result kind of hindered her ability to kind of show her charms early on to him and have that moment to just get to sit down and talk with him. Because I feel like if Nadine and Jin Young had the time to get to know each other a little bit more, there would have been a little bit more confliction in Jin Young's mind to choose between Suki or Nadine. I still feel like in the end he would have chose Suki, but I think Nadine would have had more of a chance if they got to know each other earlier on. I guess you can't really fault Min-soo for choosing him again, yet still I thought, you know, after that conversation they had, especially by the beach, or everywhere is by the beach. After that conversation they had sitting down, and he basically kind of low-key expressed to her, you should choose other people, you should get to know other people because I want to get to know other people. And so when she chose him again, I just felt like she was robbing herself of that opportunity to get to know other people as well. And she was robbing him of that opportunity. Now for the second time, while Min-soo and Jin Young were gone for Paradise, as well as So-e, who chose Hanbin for her second date, while in the Inferno, a lot of things got spicy between Seok-gi and Jungwoo. And I made some comments last video about Jungwoo's kind of pitiful, undying love for Seok-gi. I thought he should, you know, get to know others instead of going all in on Seok-gi because she wasn't really showing interest in him. But was I wrong? Boy, was I wrong. In the past 4 episodes, Seok-gi kind of finally expressed to Jungwoo that she did have interest in him, and I think because of all of those attempts at winning her over and taking care of her and making sure she was okay, she really did kind of find that admirable in Jungwoo, which, girl, okay, you know, about time you're noticing Jungwoo. But I was very happy that she finally expressed to him some glimmer of hope and gave him some glimmer of hope, and even expressed to him that she did want to go to Paradise with him, and that if she had won that day because it was a woman's choice day, that she would actually have chosen Jungwoo, which I was very surprised at. I didn't think at this point in the show that Seok-gi had any other interests in any other man besides Jin Young. So after each of the couples came back from Paradise for the second time, this is kind of where we left off, and that Jin Young noticed how close Jungwoo and Seok-gi have become in their time apart, and kind of really realized, you know, I kind of have some competition with Jungwoo. And that's where we left off. In these past 2 episodes, I was extremely happy and almost brought to the point of tears for my boy Jungwoo, because he placed second in the men's daily challenge and was able to pick Seok-gi for his date for Paradise. We all know he had a lot on the line, because if he didn't place before Jin Young would have swooped in and taken Seok-gi, which was the only person Jungwoo has expressed interest in this entire time. So in the men's daily competition to pick their dates for Paradise, Yoonjae placed first and picked So-eun, which is no surprise to anyone. They are like this. And then obviously Jungwoo placed second. He chose Seok-gi. They had a nice, comfortable date. It wasn't like Jin Young and Seok-gi's date, in which Seok-gi was bursting with laughter and smiling the whole time, which, you know, as a girl, we know when you're smiling and you can't stop smiling around a guy, you really must like that guy. But yes, it was nice actually to see Seok-gi and Jungwoo's date. I think they had a lot of similarities that they didn't expect. One being that they're literally the same age, and that Seok-gi kind of already knew of Jungwoo prior to the show, and that she frequented or had been to or really liked the cafe that his family and himself run. And so it was really interesting to see that they kind of connected over that. And lastly, we had Jin Young, who placed third in the men's daily competition, and he obviously chose Nadine. Nadine really did not see it coming, I don't think, but I think the viewers saw it coming. And I think what was interesting is that throughout the entire show, or throughout Jin Young's entire time there, all of the girls felt they could never really get a read on Jin Young. He was just this very mysterious person and didn't really open up a lot about kind of where his mindset was at, and so I think that's why she was very surprised that he chose her. To the viewers, not so much, because they did show a bunch of conversations that Nadine and Jin Young had, and that there was kind of an interest in there. So they went to Paradise. They also had a few things in common, which I think we kind of all saw piqued Jin Young's interest a little bit. While there was a bit of an age gap, 5 years, Jin Young didn't really seem to mind that actually. I think his main problem, or his main confliction with going with Nadine or choosing Nadine in the end, obviously Seok-gi existed, and also the fact that she was a student as well as a student who lived abroad. While he did have plans of going to the US, I think his feelings for Seok-gi won out. After they all came back from Paradise, quickly Jin Young pulled Suki for a conversation, and it was their last day in paradise, and so he needed to get some things off his chest. So I guess that brings us to the final matches, and a lot of the matches were predictable. Sejun picking So-yi. Sejun really did have So-yi on his mind a lot, and that was very visible and super cute. I'm so happy for them. And then of course we had So-eun and Yoonjae match up. That was no secret, no surprise. Like I said, I really do see them going places after this. And then lastly, what we all were waiting for, the moment in which Suki had to make her choice and who she was going to leave Inferno with. In the end, just like Jaya, Suki had 3 males lined up for her. When I tell you, I was completely shocked because I skipped a little bit forward through what they had to say and what she had to say. Honestly, I literally thought she was gonna pick Jin Young and that I could get on with making this video. But the gasp that left my mouth when Suki chose Jungwoo, I was like, girl, I did not think you had it in you, to be honest. But let's get to the decision, because that's what we're here for, right? That's what we want to discuss. Suki choosing Jungwoo. So in the end, I think she went with the guy who was crazy about her instead of going with the guy she was crazy about. And I think she was right to make that decision just based off the conversation. I think one of the final conversations Suki and Jin Young had when they were fetching water and sat down to have a conversation, she really kind of laid out her feelings for him, and he kind of just left things very open-ended and uncertain. You know, Suki really opened up to him and really expressed, you know, you're the one I like, and you're probably the one I'm gonna choose. I really felt like she was doing that in that moment, but because Jin Young wasn't so receptive of that and was kind of cold in a sense, he just expressed doubt and confliction more than anything rather than clarity. And what I think Suki needed in that moment was clarity if Jin Young was crazy about her. He didn't really offer that. In fact, he just made her feel even more confused and left her in the dark, and even stated that he was still choosing between 2 people. So the fact that he didn't really give her a clear answer, I think really did push her into deciding that what was best for her was leaving with Jungwoo. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Suki's feelings for Jungwoo are all the way there yet. I think right now she feels comfortable with him. She feels like he's a person that she can be herself with, which we saw a lot. I honestly didn't think that we would see a personality from Suki. I think in my past video I expressed that she didn't really show very much of a personality, but I think Jungwoo, when she was with him, she was able to express herself and be herself, and I think that's extremely important looking at kind of who is best for you, someone who brings out your personality or someone who just makes you extremely nervous. I think she realized that in the end, and so yeah, I was happy, very surprised. I just hope maybe her feelings catch up to him and that somehow, some way, you know, they work out. But yeah, that really does complete season 2 of Singles Inferno, guys. We made it through another season. I feel like the way this is going, and because Singles Inferno has very quickly become such a popular show on Netflix, we might get a season 3 as well. So I'm excited to see the future of Singles Inferno, the franchise, and see where it goes next. Maybe we'll have some returnees in the future. That would be exciting to see. But yeah, that completes my review on Singles Inferno's season 2 and my final thoughts on the show this season. If you agreed or disagreed with any of my thoughts about how everything played out, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know, were you just as surprised as I was about Suki picking Jungwoo in the end? Do you think she should have gone with Jin Young in the end instead of Jungwoo? Let me know everything in the comments below. I interact with every single person who comments. So yeah, let's start a conversation and let's become friends. And speaking of becoming friends, if you haven't already, please make sure you do subscribe. I upload every Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I've kind of been going off of my regular uploading schedule just because of things are happening, things are moving quickly and fastly. And the spring semester for me, going back to college, is right around the corner, so it's been a stressful time nonetheless. I do apologize for that. This video obviously is not going to be brought to you by Sunday. I wanted to get this video up early, as soon as possible actually, because I feel like it won't be really relevant to be talking about Singles Inferno 5 days from now, as it just ended today. Also, please do make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. I plan on doing more movie and TV show reviews in the future, so if you're excited for that, give it a thumbs up. And with that being said, guys, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!